concerns from within the White House itself about the president. A rapidly growing chorus of Democratic lawmakers and White House insiders are calling on Joe Biden to drop his re-election bid. Criticism has snowballed since his fumbling debate performance last month against Republican candidate Donald Trump. Biden remained isolated at his beach house in Delaware after being diagnosed with COVID-19. His campaign team insists he is the right man for the job.
We know that we've slipped a bit from the debate, and we know that the president has to prove to the American people exactly what he believes, that he's in this to win this, he can do this.
And for more, we can speak to Scott Lucas, a professor of U.S. politics at University College Dublin. At the moment, he joins us on the line from Birmingham. Hello to you, Professor. Welcome back to the program. A month ago, the Democratic Party was united behind Biden. Now it's increasingly frayed over support for him. Have you ever seen anything like this late into an election cycle?
I haven't seen it with a presidential candidate. Now, it has happened with a vice presidential candidate back in 1972, when the Democratic vice presidential nominee, Tom Eagleton, had to step aside because of mental health issues. I don't think that had much of an effect on that campaign, but for the record, Richard Nixon, the Republican, won in a landslide that year. For a presidential candidate, and especially an incumbent president, to be under pressure to withdraw this late in the campaign, no, we're in uncharted territory.
Yeah, the New York Times reporting that Biden, quote, has grown resentful toward Democratic congressional leaders and former President Barack Obama. He sees it as an orchestrated campaign to drive him out. What do you make of it?
Well, that's the Biden camp, of course, continuing to try to, hold on. But even from that tone of that comment, you can tell that that is not one of confidence, that that's a very defensive message. I think there are others around in the Biden camp who are also saying, well, he can't go before Wednesday, which is when the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington. So reading the signals, both from the Biden camp, more than a week ago, well, after Biden said just over a week ago, only God Almighty can make him go, and reading the growing pressure on him with more than a dozen lawmakers coming out just yesterday to say that it was time to step aside and save democracy. I think this is a question of when, not if, Biden goes this week.
And a lot of attention on Vice President Kamala Harris. She's in a tricky position. She has to appear loyal to Biden, but also appear ready should he drop out. What do you think she's doing behind the scenes?
Oh, it's not just behind the scenes. While Harris is being very supportive of Biden, she's making a number of high-profile appearances that have actually been hailed by the media as being very effective. These include speeches in key states like Nevada, North Carolina, Louisiana. She is showing, competence. She's showing fitness. She, of course, is showing that she's much younger than Joe Biden. And the opinion polls have her neck and neck with Donald Trump. I don't think Kamala Harris is a shoo-in to be the nominee if Biden steps aside. I think there are others who could be considered, like Governors Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, Gavin Newsom. But Harris has one big advantage, and that is all the funds that have been raised for the Biden campaign can be used by Harris for her campaign if she takes over, because she is from within the administration. They cannot be used by the other candidates if they, in fact, were the ones who chosen to replace Biden.
What do the polls say? Which Democrat would have the best chance against Trump?
I think all the top candidates, and by this I mean Harris, Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, they run close to Trump. So I don't think the issue here is whether or not they can defeat Trump. I think the issue here is one of time. And that is, with the Democratic National Convention coming up on August 19th, you can no longer wait. You have to use this time to build up the alternative candidate, his or her character, his or her position within the administration, if that is applicable, and in the achievements of that administration, position on the issues, and the ability to push back Donald Trump's lies and to identify his threat to democracy day after day after day. So you have to move now. In other words, I think you do have to move this week. The longer you wait, the more that it's likely that the Democrats will have a higher mountain decline come November.
And if Biden stays in the race and loses the election, who does the blame fall on? Does it fall on him, or does it fall on people that said he was the right man to stay in the race?
I won't play the blame game, and I'll tell you why. Because the Trumpists are actually using that to sow discord right now, and they're spreading false claims that there's been a conspiracy hiding this for months, which is untrue. I just simply will say that it's my personal opinion, that if Biden stays in the race, I don't. He hands Trump the keys to the White House, not because the Biden administration hasn't achieved anything. It's been the most important administration since the 1930s, 60s, possibly the 1930s, not because Biden isn't capable on a day-to-day basis of managing the administration, but because the media narrative will be old Joe, and there will be no chance to identify the key issues, whether it's women's rights, climate change, healthcare, education, the economy, foreign policy, that are actually the issues that should be at the center of this campaign.
All right, Scott, thank you very much for your time. Scott Lucas speaking to us from Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you.